Peterson said, "A harmless man is not a good man. A good man is a dangerous man who has that under control." I thought about it. I've been thinking about it for a long time, tried to understand what he meant by that, because in some sense we don't talk much about what is it to be a man in our modern world. And I think the more I think about it, the more I understand that a man in some sort of, you have to carry your cross silently. And the bigger the cross, the heavier the cross, the harder your path. But at the same time, the more meaning you are able to discover on your way. Because your cross is, in some sense, is your responsibilities. You take responsibilities for everything. But first, what's the difference between strong and a weak man, and why weak men are more dangerous than strong men? Because strong man takes responsibilities. Strong man is responsible for themselves and for the entire world, while weak men always blame everyone in their own follies. They refuse to take responsibilities. They refuse to change, to be a force of changes in this world. They usually become part of the mob and demand changes through other people. What I think is right is that strong men, they follow their instinct and they try to understand this world and try to control it, try to shape it the way they think is correct. Because the more responsibility you take over your shoulders, the harder it is to live, but the more meaning you are able to discover. And also, you understand that everything in your own hands. You're absolutely in control of your life. You don't wait for changes. You make changes. You don't wait for opportunities to come your way. You make those opportunities. Because you are in charge of your own life. And I'm not saying that strong man's supposed to be physically strong. It's all mentally. It's all here in your head. And that's why, you don't wait for luck. You build your own luck. Every day you do something to improve yourself, to improve your life. And weak men, they refuse to do this. They refuse to be consistent in something. They refuse to take responsibility for their failures and start working hard to change their failures, to change their lives, to change their routine, to change their habits. Because our life consists of habits. And our habits, in some sense, define us. And that's why strong men, they just keep doing what they're supposed to do every single day. It doesn't matter how you feel. What matters is what you do. And you do this consistently every day, one step at a time. It's slow, it's tedious, it can be boring. You have to deny yourself pleasures. But that's the way you grow. You grow through pain, physical and mental. And you try to follow your gut. You try to follow your instinct. Because the whole ideas, the whole mythos of our Western civilization built on the idea that the real man is the one who are able to defeat the dragon, get the gold, and a beautiful princess. That's the whole story that you must live in if you wanna truly understand the meaning of your life. You look for a dragon. You look for a dragon and you try to defeat this dragon. And once you defeat this dragon, there is a gold, and there is a beautiful princess that you must save. And that's how life goes. And as I know it's a metaphorical, but you can apply this idea to everything in your life. Because you are the one who writes your story, and the plot is already there. You just have to learn to recognize the right ideas, to adapt them to your own perception of reality. And that's why weak men, they ignore it. They want everything and at the same time. And if everything doesn't work their way, they refuse to do this. They refuse to change this. They blame other people. I think weakness is in some sort of capitulation toward your own biology, before your biology. You capitulate before your biology. You just follow your body. Whatever your body wants, you just cave in right away. If your body wants sweet stuff, you just eat a bunch of sweet stuff. If your body wants, I don't know, sugary drink or fast food or a bunch of sex or a bunch of video games or a bunch of pornography or a bunch of drugs, you just cave in and decided, okay. And that's, I think, the difference between strong and weak men. Because weak men follow their own biology. They follow biology. They just worship their hedonism, the hedonistic desires, these hedonistic urges. They become absolutely hedonistic. And for them, it's only now. It's only materialistic pleasures, materialistic stuff. They want expensive cars. It doesn't matter. Even if they don't have money, it doesn't matter for them. They just want expensive cars, they want expensive stuff, they want the comfort, and they want to do as little as possible and have as little responsibilities as they can. While strong men, they are able to say no to their bodies. They're able to say no to their bodies, and they're able to be in control of their biology. They say, okay, no, I'm not gonna do this, I'm not going to eat this, I'm not going to behave this way. That's what John Peterson said, dangerous man who has that under control. Why? Because dangerous men, they understand those desires. They understand those urges. They understand those wishes. They have the same wishes. They have the same desires. But what they do, they don't act upon them. They can restrict themselves. They are able to say no to people and to themselves. That's what makes them dangerous. They can fight, they can punch, but they chose not to. That's the whole idea. The problem with the weak man, they behave quite opposite. They act upon all of their urges. Nothing can stop them. And the funny thing about, I noticed when I watched some of the speakers, like some influencers, I'm not going to name, but some influencers, they create this certain general idea. They say, like, I want everything, like, I want everybody believe whatever they want to believe. I want everyone live the way they want to live. I want everyone to be free. But what do you mean by freedom? What do you mean by the idea to live the way you want? Because real freedom is in restraints. The more you restrain yourself, the more you're free. That's the strange paradox of how people are supposed to live. You're supposed to constantly restrain yourself. You're supposed to consume only the right amount of food that doesn't make you out of shape, but only fuel you with the necessary amount of energy for you to perform sufficiently your day work. Because if you slightly overeat or overdrink some alcohol, your life degrades. Your performance degrade. There's this idea that everybody can do whatever the hell they want is incredibly hedonistic. We have to propagate this idea of restraint, of voluntarily restraint. That's what different, because if you voluntarily restrain yourself, restrain your biology, it's not tyranny, it's common sense. Tyranny comes when somebody forces you into those restraints. That's where tyranny comes. But if you restrain yourself voluntarily just because you thought deeply about it and suddenly you understood that, yes, that's my point, that's the point of my life, to restrain myself. Because there's no other way to live. You have to be disciplined. I think discipline is the most important thing. And it's easy to It's not easy exactly, but it's easy to understand how stop behaving weak. Learn discipline. Practice discipline. Every day do the same stuff again and again and again and again. Many times I talk to guys and they said, I don't have time to work out. And I always tell them, you don't need time to work out. Start doing push-ups. Start doing 10 push-ups every day. Every single day, 10 push-ups. It will change your life drastically. And then eventually you will increase. You have to develop healthy habit. You have to do something every day over and over and over and over again. It doesn't matter how you feel. It doesn't matter what's happening around you. The whole world might collapse. Everything can go to hell, but you still have to do this 10 freaking push-ups. Because it would create consistency within yourself and you become stronger from that simple task. You don't need gym, you don't need weights, you don't need equipment. What you need is a desire to become better and discipline to enforce upon this desire and to conquer it, to conquer your weakness, to conquer your biology, and to handle this emotional and physical strain that this discipline would enforce on you every single day. The difference between a winner and a loser is the winner keep doing the same thing again and again, despite of the result. It doesn't matter the result. What matter is if it fulfill you, if it gives you the point, the meaning to better life. That's the idea. There's nothing else. That's what I mean. That's what weak men are dangerous, because they're not only don't wanna do anything by themselves, they want to stop people from doing things. They want to enforce their idea of life upon everybody, because it's easier for them when everyone lives the same way they do. Once you start doing something different, that's where you get attacked by everyone. That's why you get rejected by everyone. And to be honest, you don't need nobody. You can grind alone. You don't need nobody. You can do push-ups in the darkness in your own room by yourself. And it doesn't matter. A lot of people think that workout is nothing. It's like, no, it's create discipline. It's create certain mental and physical strength that you need to accomplish certain things. It makes you stronger. It makes you dangerous. Because real danger when you don't stop no matter what. And people know it and people feel it. If they know and feel that you will never stop. If you put a goal in front of you and you go to this goal no matter what, even you have to crawl, have that toward this goal, and you still crawling through years, people are terrified. People are terrified to see people like that. Because most of the people around you, if you look around, they don't care. They don't have no goals. They have no consistency in their behavior, in their ideas, in their dreams, in their thinking. They just want to do as little as possible, live for the rest of their life in comfort. But they're losing the main point. You will suffer no matter what. But if you suffer, knowing that you suffer for something, then your life has such a meaning and worthy of living. That's the point, I think, that a harmless man is not a good man. Why? Because a man who cannot punch cannot protect you. Like a rabbit. A rabbit cannot hurt you, but it also cannot defend you. Dangerous man can kill, yes, but he also can defend you for real. And sometimes it's necessary. That's why a good man is a dangerous man who has it under control.